Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm a coach and a trance channel, and welcome to my weekly series called Guided and Grounded. Every single week, I tune in with the spirit guides, and they come forward to deliver a message for you. And then what they do with that message is they allow you to turn in with it. They take us on a guided meditation exercise, visualization, or somatic experience where they create awareness around a belief system, around a thought, around a sensation, or something that you are experiencing in your life, and guide us on how to transcend it, integrate it, or release it in some way. And so it's kind of an experience in two parts. Part one is a guided message along with an experience. And then the second part is grounding that into your body, into your energy, into your physicality. And so the way this works is I close my eyes, I in with them to see what they want to tell us, and the message tends to build on itself. Sometimes they give us the whole message and then they take us through an experience afterwards. And sometimes the experience comes through alongside the message to give you an opportunity to hear it and experience it at the same time. It really just depends on whatever they're feeling is for our highest and best on that particular day. So I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to tune in with them, see what they want to tell us today, and we'll get started. Ooh, okay. Hitting the ground running. Okay, so they always start off with a visual and then they build on that visual. And so, okay, they're showing me a visual of a forest. So come along with me inside of this visual. I want you to imagine this for yourself. So we're in this forest and I'm just seeing these deer running through this forest and it feels like we're running alongside them. And the deer seem anxious. It feels like they're running away from something. And we are running alongside them, but our energy feels different. Our energy feels excited. Um, and we're just like in excitement and anticipation of something. And oh, okay, we are the ones hunting the deer. Okay, so I'm just visualizing that we are humans and we are sort of in dressed in kind of like a tribal attire where it feels like we are a community living off of the land and we kind of came together with other community members to hunt deer and we are closing in on some of the stragglers and there's fear in the deer's eyes and there's panic and there's anxiousness, but we're excited because this means that we're going to be successful at this hunt. We're going to have a meal and we're going to have lots of opportunity to create things from whatever it is that we are able to kill. Clothing, tools, whatever it is whatever it is that is needed that we can salvage from this successful hunt. Okay. And then all of a sudden, you're running alongside this deer, kind of looking it in the eye, ready to kind of throw a spear at it, and you stumble on a tree branch and you get pulled up into the air into this net. And the deer just keep running and they run off into the forest. And you're trapped inside of this net, hanging from a tree. And now you're panicked and you don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. You're feeling helpless, trapped inside of this net. You're calling for help, but there's nobody there. All of your friends and family members and fellow tribes people, community members have sort of disappeared and you're completely alone. You have nobody to help you and you're calling out, help, somebody help me. Is anybody there? You're calling the names of your friends and family members and there's just no answer. Okay, where are you taking us with this? You feel your heart pounding in your chest. You're in full-blown panic mode now, and you're trying to search for tools on your person in your pockets where you can start cutting this net. But the net is really thick and and hold on. What are you guys showing me? All of a sudden, these figures start to appear out of the trees, out of the kind of darkness of the foliage, and they start surrounding you beneath the tree where you are hanging helplessly inside of this net. And they're holding torches with fire on the ends. And you can't really see their faces. You don't know who they are, but they're sort of silent. And they start, seems like they're building something down on the forest floor. Okay, they pull out a cauldron. It's a giant black cauldron. And they start, it seems like prepping for a meal. They light a fire under it. The liquid inside of it starts steaming. And you just sign up, you're just kind of watching them start to like add ingredients to this cauldron. And they seem, you kind of start to hear them laughing and talking, and they're just kind of like operating as if you're not there. They're aware that you're there, but they don't acknowledge you at all. And you're just terrified that you're going to be their next meal. And then all of a sudden, this doorway opens in this space-time continuum. Guys, where are you going with this? Where this doorway opens in the air, like it's a doorway that opens out of thin air in this forest, and there's this white light that empties out of this doorway. And then all of a sudden, these people or beings that were underneath you that were prepping this cauldron, they mad dash through it. It's almost this like panic to make it through the doorway before the doorway closes. Like they forget about the cauldron, they forget about you, they drop everything they're holding, and it's this mad dash to make it through this doorway of light before it closes on them. So they all run through this doorway and they disappear through it. And then one of them closes the door behind them and it seals itself shut and it disappears, but something falls to the floor as the doorway disappears. And it's a knife. And it's this clear, sharp, beautifully thick, long knife. And everything inside of you is saying to yourself, I need to figure out how I can get that knife so I can get myself out of this net that I'm in. And all of a sudden, this large bird comes, it's like a hawk, flies out of a tree, grabs the knife in its beak, and brings it to you. And you start cutting the net that you're in. And it seems like you fall directly into this cauldron. And then suddenly, all of the deer that you were chasing through the forest start to appear around you. And it seems like they want you to follow them. So you jump on the back of your horse and you start to run with this herd of deer. And they take you to the edge of a cliff. And all of the deer start jumping off of the cliff to the water below. And your horse stops right at the edge of this cliff. And you get up, you stand on top of its saddle, and you jump off the back of this horse, diving down into the water below. And you dive into the water and you start swimming with these deer. And then the deer dive down into the water and you follow them. And they take you all the way down to the bottom of this body of water so that you're kind of right where the sand and the rocky bottom is. And you pick up, well, you see a treasure chest, and alongside the treasure chest is an old mirror. And you pick up this old mirror and you look into the reflection that you see staring back at you. And immediately the guides are now just having us focus on our heart center. And in your heart center, you're feeling this beautiful ball of light just glowing there. And they just want you to focus on your heart center at this time, right in the middle of your chest, and feeling the sensation of just love, so much gratitude. And you put down the mirror and you just feel at peace with whatever it is that you got out of it. And then you wake up suddenly in your bed, realizing that the whole thing, this whole experience, this whole adventure that we were just taken on was a dream. And you try to put the pieces together of what it meant. and you look up at the wall in front of you and you see the bust of a deer hanging on the wall. And you feel grateful to be back at home in your bed and to be able to go about your day knowing that you were able to successfully bring home food and provide for your family and your community. But this feeling of warmth and love in your heart space doesn't go away, it lingers there. Are you guys taking us today with this? And they want you in this moment to think about all the times in your life where you set out to do something, to accomplish something, and you got derailed. And it didn't exactly go the way you planned. And you were taken on this very long side quest that had lots of ups and downs. You were expecting your journey to be very straightforward, very linear, and it was almost like you felt like you had almost arrived, you had it, and then it was kind of ripped out from beneath you. And you had to move through a very challenging sequence of events instead. And looking back at all of that you went through, is there some part of you that's able to feel gratitude for that? And that's able to recognize that even though it didn't go as planned, and even though you had to undergo so much challenge and strife, rather than the quick and easy path that you thought it was going to be, can you recognize that you got the outcome that you wanted anyway? And that there's a part of you that's grateful and feeling so much love and joy and compassion for having ended up where you are now, despite all the hardship that was required for you to get there? And is there a part of you that can see that maybe that hardship was needed in some way, even though it sucked, even though you weren't anticipating it, even though it would have been so much easier to never have gone through it? Is there a part of you that can and does feel grateful for everything that it taught you and everything that you had to face and endure and everything that you had to muster up from within you that you maybe didn't even know was there, but because you had to rely on it to make it through that, you were able to experience aspects of you that give you pride. Pride knowing that that was in you the whole time and that you maybe never would have known that if you hadn't been forced to go through it in the way that you did. And what they're trying to show us through this long journey is that everybody that you meet on your path is going to be experiencing their own challenges. The deer that you were chasing were minding their own business with their friends and family when they were suddenly attacked and had to run for their lives. and then eventually accepted you as part of their pack and led you to their on their path with them. And at the end of that, they were slaughtered anyway for your betterment. But they were able to share part of their path with you and create this relationship with you anyway, or despite all that, despite your differences. And part of their agreement with you was knowing that they might have to offer part of themselves to you at the end of it, but that was their path. And that was something that they have to come to terms with in their own time. And then the people or the beings that appeared out of the forest and that were preparing a cauldron for you, they set that trap, hoping that you would fall into it, and had this plan to cook a meal and to celebrate, a successful endeavor of providing for their own community as well, when that plan got derailed and they had to take off quickly in a very anxious and nervous and fearful way. And you don't know where they were going and you don't know why they dropped what they were doing, but it was imperative to them that they did. And what this long sequence and narrative and visualization exercise is really trying to show us today is that everybody that we meet along our path has their own intentions set for themselves. And their path is going to guide them in different directions. And and at some point in time, you're going to cross paths with them and they might derail your path and you might derail theirs and you're going to head off in different directions. But ultimately, you're all going to end up exactly where you're meant to be. And if you can find gratitude for the entire experience, regardless of how it unfolds and regardless of what it looks like, then that is how you're going to be able to provide for yourself, your family, and your community. Can you explain that a little bit more about how gratitude provides that for us? They're saying that the meal that you provided for your community wasn't just the deer, it was the gratitude for the effort that was required to undergo all of the trials and tribulations that you went through to be there for them at the end of it and to muster all of that from within you in order to accomplish that and feel that gratitude for yourself at the end of it. That is ultimately what makes it all worthwhile. It wasn't the deer and having a meal that made it worthwhile. It was the experience of feeling the gratitude that did. Because if you had just caught the deer and brought it back, the level of pride and accomplishment may have been different. And you might not have had an opportunity to witness all of your strength and perseverance in the way that you did. And so the message for you today is what? Learning how to anchor into gratitude and love and pride from within you, regardless of where your path takes you, regardless of how it gets derailed, knowing that other people are going to have those same experiences in their own way, and you may not be able to make sense of it for them. And it might feel frustrating if someone comes into your life and it feels like they derailed your path. But if you can feel pride and gratitude and accomplishment and love for who you are and what you went through at the end of it, then one, doesn't that make it all worth it? And two, can you see their role inside of your path differently? That in some way they were able to provide that for you in a very weird way and offer you that gift where it might have felt scary and frustrating at the time that they showed up and derailed you. But on the other side of that, it forced you to experience yourself in all of these incredible ways that you would never have had the opportunity to had they never showed up in the first place. And so, what they want you to do now is call up that feeling from within you because they're saying very rarely do you give yourself permission to anchor into that feeling. How often do you give yourself permission to feel pride? It's a very tricky feeling to offer ourselves that experience because it feels shameful to do so. It doesn't feel like we've ever earned the right to feel prideful. And the feeling of pride gets a bad rap because we see it, we judge it. When we see someone else displaying pride, we judge that in them. And we judge that in them because we judge that in ourselves. We we don't give ourselves permission to feel that very often. And what they want you to do today is learn how to feel that, how to allow that, recognize when you, how often you disallow it and how uncomfortable it can be to allow it, and learn to let that in and witness as you traverse this path of life, the opportunities available for you to feel it, to let it in, and how doing that shifts your perspective of the journey where you might have previously seen it as a bunch of disasters and now you can see it as worth the wait, that the end result took longer to get to and you had to go through, navigate a lot of trials and tribulations to get there, but maybe it was so much more worth it in the end. And the people along the way that you maybe resented, maybe now you can see them differently, that they were also moving through their own trials and tribulations, and their paths also got derailed. And maybe as you were crossing paths with all these people, you were derailing their path, they were derailing yours, you resented them, they resented you. But at the end of the day, you're offering one another the opportunity to experience yourself in a new way at the end of it or along the way, depending on how often you're willing to let that in. Okay. So they just want you to take a moment and close your eyes. If you don't have the ability to do that right now, just pause this video and come back when you do. And they just want you to put your hand on your heart and you can put a second hand on your stomach. And just think about a time in your life where you did something, accomplished something, said something, felt something, realized something that made you really proud. And they just want you to feel that feeling right now, what that feeling feels like. and just let it fill you. And recognizing if it's been a while, maybe the memory that you're calling up was a long time ago. And that's just something to take note of, is that it's been a really long time since you've allowed yourself to congratulate yourself, to give yourself a pat on the back, to allow yourself to feel pride and satisfaction, and just let that feeling in, recognizing how good it feels. And also, if there's a part of you that's holding back a little bit, that feels a little uncomfortable, fully letting that experience in, or maybe thinking to yourself, yeah, but I haven't done anything worthwhile in a while. I haven't accomplished anything that big in a while. Aha, exactly. You're waiting to be, you're waiting for what? You're waiting for permission. You're waiting for something to drop into your life and for you to do something so big and fantastic that you're going to finally give yourself permission to feel this way. But who gives yourself permission? How does one decide when gratitude and satisfaction and pride are rewarded, are allowed to be felt? You do, ultimately. And so, what they want you to recognize today is when you haven't been willing to offer that to yourself. And perhaps in the willingness to offer it to yourself more frequently, you'll feel that more frequently. And then the journey to get here will feel that much more rewarding. And the journey moving forward, you'll start to see it different. It will paint a different picture of what the journey would and could look like. You'll be less concerned with which path to take, how quickly to get there, how effectively, how efficiently. And anytime the plans change and life gets derailed, it won't feel as threatening because you'll know that you will always have the opportunity to be grateful for you and to feel pride in your ability to navigate it. They're trying to show you that life is going to throw obstacles at your way. People are going to come in that you didn't expect. Things are going to get thrown off course. And the more you can flow, go with the flow of life, because you're willing to offer yourself gratitude and pride and satisfaction just for your ability to navigate it, it won't feel as threatening anymore. It won't make you as angry or resentful, and your entire experience of the journey of life will look and feel so much different. And isn't that what you're wanting most? Is to feel differently, is to feel more easeful, is to feel more trust of the flow of life, trust of the universe guiding you, trust of your ability to navigate it. And they're showing you that this trust comes in your willingness to accept your path, to accept what happens to you along your path and the circumstances that you can't control, and your ability to do that comes down to your willingness to feel grateful for it. And if you can see the opportunity to feel grateful for it, then you will rise above your circumstances. Be less concerned with your circumstances, because each circumstance you'll see as an opportunity and a gift to offer you something enjoyable to experience, which will be the way that you feel about who you are and your ability to withstand it. Is there anything else that you want them to know about this? They're saying feel grateful and gratitude will find you. The opportunity to offer yourself gratitude will find you when you're willing to feel it. And if you are always withholding that from yourself, then the opportunity to feel it will never come. You'll never, it'll never be enough. It'll never be worth offering it to yourself, worth opening up to it. So you're simply withholding the very thing that you want because you're not you're not willing to let it in. Wow. Very interesting way of getting to this point today. I'm going to be so open and honest and vulnerable with you. I, oh my God. Okay, they're encouraging me to say this. I really struggled with channeling this today because I didn't know where it was going. I mean, we were being taken on this winding visualization, and I was like, in my head, I kept asking them, like, where's this going? Am I getting this wrong? Am I misinterpreting something? Can you get to the point? And I was really losing faith throughout this episode today. And they're highlighting for me where I wasn't trusting my path, where I felt like I was being bombarded by obstacles today and not showing myself gratitude and pride for continuing to push through and trusting myself and trusting the process. And at the end of it, it all came together. I got the result that I wanted, which was some sort of tying of things together. And because I endured the challenges of this episode for myself today, I'm able to now offer myself more pride and satisfaction on the other side of it, knowing that I just kept going and I can now anchor into that much more trust moving forward. So the very message that came through me today was being applied to me in the moment. Fascinating. Oh my God. They are amazing. If you enjoyed this experience today, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to explore what's inside of you on a weekly basis with me and the spirit guides. Thank you so much for enjoying this experience with me, and I'll see you next week. Bye.